Hi folks, it's just me today. I've just arrived at Ridgley Reservoir and I'm kicking off on a 7 kilometre Ridgley Reservoir loop walk. I'm hoping I can get all the way around the loop. I noticed there's some work going on over here that might get in the way. But anyway, let me just turn the camera around so you can have a look at this area where I'm starting off. It's gorgeous. So this is in the town of Ridgley. It looks like it's a small rural town. I don't know a lot about it. I've been here before. Quite close to home though, about a 15-minute drive from the house in Somerset. The weather's not been so fantastic, but the forecast is for no rain. And there's a peeking a little bit of blue sky there, so we might see things improve as we go for the walk. Anyway, I'm on my way. So just as I'm continuing my way around the reservoir, this is drinking water for the Burnie municipality. You can't have boats on here, or certainly not motorboats on here, because of the fact that it's drinking water. It's also an angling or a fishing spot for brown and rainbow trout. Apparently they're quite common here. From a wildlife perspective, there's a full spectrum of the local birds, ducks and so forth. But it's also home to platypus, families of platypus here in the place. So who knows what we'll see today. But anyway, it's a beautiful spot. Just taking in the view and loving it. It's a pretty flat walk. There's no raised pathways that I've seen so far, but it's very flat, very easy to navigate, at least at this point. As you will have seen in some of the other videos that I've been taking down here in Tassie, some of the trees here are just spectacular. I've just come across these couple of trees here in front of me, and they're huge. Again, incredibly large. They've been here for hundreds of years, and they're looking pretty healthy as well. Just spectacular. I'm just over a kilometre into the walk right now. The promise of no rain didn't pan out. I'm getting a little bit of rain on me, but it's pretty light, quite bearable. But I stopped here for a reason. Just one of the things that I love about this country so much is our bird life. In the Blue Mountains where we've come from, you know, we had our rainbow lorikeets and our bowerbirds and the sulphur cresteds and rosellas and all the different varieties there. The varieties down here I'm seeing quite more is our small finches, fairy wrens or the superb wren. I'm hearing Australian magpies. Let me just be quiet for a second, you can listen in. You very likely heard a good old crow or a raven in there as well. There's definitely plenty of those, the bush ravens and the crows around here. But it's just around you is like a symphony of these different types of birds and their different calls and so forth. I'm using an app called Merlin by Cornell Labs if you're keen to be able to detect birds in your neighbourhood, wherever you are in the world. They're doing a tremendous job of using both audio and photography to be able to identify birds, and they're not perfect. They're still building their database, and they're using the recordings to help them do that. But it's a tremendous way to identify birds wherever you are, and it tracks them the location that you're at the time. So you'll get a picture of the various locations you go to, the different birds you're going to see. So the app's called Merlin. Check it out. Well, while I'm on the downhill run and a fairly gentle part of the walk, and I can actually breathe without panting at you, I want to give you an update on another passion of mine and what's going on in the background there. So for those of you who may have been following the JD's Journal podcast, over the last couple of years, you'll know that it went on hiatus back on the 31st of December, and it's been sitting in a kind of static state while we've been going through the migration down here to Tassie. But I want to let you know it's alive and well. I'm working on a series of episodes coming up. I'm going to change the format somewhat this year. I had a high dependence on guests last year, and there were some tremendous guests. I will continue to have guests on the podcast, but I do want to focus more on presenting my own content, and I've got some topics coming up, including a series on allyship, covering the spectrum of women, LGBT, people with disabilities, seniors, neurodivergent and so forth. I'm excited by that, but there's other themes as well. So JD's journal will be back, and certainly back in the near future. Probably more excitingly, I have been working with an organisation called Kintsugi Heroes, who have been a platform for storytelling over the last few years, covering quite a spectrum of topics, domestic violence, people with disabilities, addiction, suicide, and others. They really have an incredible portfolio now of hundreds of awesome podcasts covering those topics. And it's really about storytelling for the purposes of sharing people's journeys, sharing their resources and the way that they've navigated the challenges in their lives, and the lessons that they've learned for the benefit of other people who may be challenging with the same issues or same concerns, which, as you can probably work out, is quite synergistic with JD's journal. There's a very lovely alignment there in terms of mission. I have been invited to lead the development of an LGBTQIA specific theme for Kintsugi Heroes. I'm absolutely honoured by that opportunity. It'll be under the name Pride in Stories, and I've got the first 3 guests lined, and I've got a fairly large group of people who I'm talking to right now about being guests, all of them with tremendous unique stories of their own, very empowering stories and so forth. So Kintsugi Heroes, if you're not familiar with the term Kintsugi, it's a Japanese art form, and the notion is that you take a piece of crockery, a piece of kind of plain crockery in terms of a bowl or a jug or something like that, and you break it, or it's broken, and then you rebuild it with a precious metal, gold, silver, whatever. And what you end up with is something that is more unique, more precious, more desired, if you like, than what you started with. And I think it's such a tremendous metaphor for us, for our lives, and how, we do get broken at times. We do have these shattering experiences, but we have the opportunity to rebuild ourselves into something that's even more precious. And so I think it's just a metaphor that resonated so strongly with me. So look out for news on that soon. I will include a link to Kintsugi Heroes in this video. Reckon you should check it out by all means. Have a look at their stories and have a look at the content there that might resonate with you or with your network. It is a not-for-profit, a charity. They're looking for support as well. So if you think you can help out in terms of funding or helping us reach out, by all means, help, get involved. We'd love to have you on board. Anyway, more information will have to come soon. Let's get back to the walk. Well, look over my shoulder. Blue sky, where'd that come from? Raining on me 1 minute, blue sky the next. Anyway, for my walks, I'm using an app called All Trails. There's a bunch of them out there you can use, or I found All Trails has got the best maps information. The thing it does just as well really, is that if you go off the path, it makes your phone vibrate or beep and asks you the question, have you gone off path? And sure enough, I did. I went off the path and I was heading off into the wilderness. Who knows where I was going? Anyway, I'm back on the path now, headed downhill towards a bridge and what looks like a river or a creek. Again, continues to be a lovely location. Not a bad place to be at all. So down the bottom of the hill, you see that creek moving on, but over here, very pretty indeed. Look at that. What is it about the sound of running water? Apart from the obvious, toilet inclination that comes with it, it's so soothing just to sit here and listen to that. The path took us a fair way away from the reservoir for a while, kind of following the railway line and then farmland and so forth. But you can see in the distance there, we're coming back towards the reservoir. We have this marshy looking area here, and then the reservoir behind it. around dusk or dawn, this would be an amazing area to capture, you know, wildlife in the region. They're not so visible during the day. I did see a couple of padmelons. Padmelon is a kind of small member of, I believe, the wallaby family here. We see quite a lot of them in our area here in Tassie. Saw a few of those in the scrub beside me, but of course they saw me and bolted pretty quickly, so I couldn't catch them this particular time. But yeah, just giving a view of the reservoir as it comes back into view. Again, it's very, very pleasing to the eye. So just as we're passing this grassy area on my left, a common question about Australia in general and about Tasmania specifically is the venomous snakes. How many venomous snakes have you got and so forth? And in Tassie there's three primary families of venomous snakes. The copperhead, the tiger snake and the white-lipped snake. They are all three venomous and quite harmful. The good news is the same antivenin is used for all three types of snakes. So if you get bitten, they can treat you. They don't need to worry about working out which snake it was that bit you and so forth. If you're smart and you're solo hiking like I am, you carry a snake bandage, which is a special type of compression bandage with markings on it so that you can apply compression to the limb that's been bitten. It's typically a limb in most cases, to slow down the movement of venom. We don't do the cut and suck or any of those sorts of things. You literally just immobilize and apply compression. You carry a personal locator beacon or a PLB, which means that you can signal emergency services and give them your GPS location very easily. It's quite a small device, quite a small device that you can carry with you. Typically has a battery life of, I don't know, 6 or 7 years or something. So you just keep it in your backpack. Hopefully you never use it. But if you get lost, if you get injured, or if you get bitten by a snake, they're a fantastic device to have with you. As I'm walking, coming across quite a few of these, what they call guild mushrooms or achilles, I think they call them, something like that. I don't know which particular variety of these mushrooms this is. There's quite a lot of varieties within that family of mushrooms. Everything from ones that are quite harmless to others that are hallucinogenic in their nature and others that can be quite deadly. If you've been following the news recently of a case where a wife was poisoning her husband with stroganoff, I think it was, or something like that. Anyway, using a particular type of mushroom. My simple rule when I'm hiking is that if I don't recognize the type of mushroom, I don't pick it. I don't go near it. I'd rather err on the side of safety, and I'll pick up my mushrooms at the supermarket as opposed to being poisoned by one of these things. Anyway, just walking past this farm here, and apparently I'm quite the novelty for these cows. They're pretty keen to come over and have a chat. I suspect that means they think I've got food for them, but why would you be looking for food in a field that's as lush as this? Hello, aren't you beautiful? Look at you, all of you. They're all keen to say hello. Beautiful cows. One over here as well. Oh, they're great. Now, I hope you can hear that. A very famous Australian bird, the kookaburra, member of the kingfisher family, but they have a very distinct call, which sounds like a laugh, and they're calling out to each other here. Let's hope they do it again. Such a great Australian sound. These birds you're seeing and hearing, very unique sound. The masked law pig, or it's actually a member of the plover family, and they're very common here. This whole area, they're all over the place. And I mentioned in a previous video, in the breeding season, They're incredibly territorial and significantly more frightening than magpies when they swoop at you. I'm still trying to work out what the best defense mechanism is, but yeah, plovers, they're everywhere. I love my walks, but I say a walk like this one, 7Ks, a little bit of rise and so forth. I'm kind of glad to get to the destination here. And so that little red thing over in the distance there is my car, and that's my signal that I've almost made it. Nearly there. Well, there we are. About 7.3 Ks. A good walk, really good walk. Nice views, nothing too strenuous. Lovely scenery in terms of both the flora and the fauna, frankly. So a great little spot. Definitely one that I'll come back to very soon. Now I think I'm going to go and treat myself to a piece of gummy and a couple of potato cakes, or scallops as we'd call them in New South Wales. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are, I hope you're living your best life, and please be good to each other. See you soon.